It was one of those quiet afternoons where absolutely nothing dramatic was supposed to happen. The weather was perfect, not too hot, not too cold, just one of those rare days where sitting outside actually feels relaxing instead of annoying. So I decided to grab a drink and sit out on my front patio for a bit. From my seat, I could see the street, the driveway, and most of the houses nearby. It was one of those calm neighborhoods where people mostly just mind their own business. At the moment, I was the only tenant currently home in our two-unit house, which meant if someone showed up, I'd definitely notice. And that's exactly what happened. Out of nowhere, a car slowly pulls into the driveway. Now, normally that wouldn't be strange, except this car wasn't one I recognized. It drove right past the street parking and pulled directly behind my car. The engine turned off, the driver stepped out, and here's the weird part. He didn't even glance in my direction. Not a nod, not a hello, not even that awkward half smile strangers usually give when they realize someone is watching them. Nothing. He just started walking toward the house next door like he belonged there. Now, I'm not usually suspicious, but this was my driveway, and I had no idea who this guy was. So I did the normal, polite thing. I spoke up. "Hey, can I help you with something?" I said it casually, not aggressive, not confrontational, just curious. But the reaction I got? Completely unnecessary. The guy turned slightly, looked in my direction for maybe half a second, and said in the most sarcastic tone imaginable, "No, you can't help me with anything." Then he added, "I'm just delivering something next door. Are you going to be moving your car in the next 3 minutes?" The way he said it was dripping with attitude, like I had somehow offended him just by existing. For a moment, I just sat there, stunned, because, what? You pull into my driveway, say nothing, and then talk to me like I'm the problem? So I responded calmly, "I'm just asking because I don't know who you are." Then I added, "And you don't really need to give me attitude when you're parked in my driveway." He didn't respond. He just huffed, turned around, and walked off to make his delivery. I figured that was the end of it. Annoying interaction, but whatever. People have bad days. Maybe he was stressed. Maybe he hated his job. Who knows? A few minutes passed. Eventually, he came back. He got into his car, rolled the window down, and instead of just driving away like a normal person, he shouted across the driveway, "You're a bitch!" Then he added loudly, "And a Karen!" Before I could even process what just happened, he drove off. I just sat there blinking. Like, did that seriously just happen? This guy parked in my driveway, talked down to me, and somehow decided I was the problem? The audacity was honestly impressive. But the story doesn't end there, because about 10 minutes later, guess who came back? Yep, the same delivery guy. Apparently, he forgot a bag he was supposed to drop off, except this time, he wasn't pulling into an empty driveway. Right as he arrived, one of my guy friends had just pulled up to visit. He parked his car behind mine, which meant the driveway now had 2 cars and 2 people standing outside. I pointed toward the delivery guy and quietly told my friend what had happened earlier. He immediately looked over at the car. The delivery driver noticed. Our eyes met, and suddenly, the loud, confident jerk from 10 minutes ago completely vanished. The same guy who had been yelling insults out his car window was now sitting silently in his vehicle. No shouting, no attitude, no Karen comments, nothing. Just awkward silence. He quickly grabbed the forgotten bag, walked to the neighbor's door, dropped it off, and avoided looking at us the entire time. Then he got back in his car, started the engine, and left, without saying a single word. It was honestly almost funny watching the transformation. 10 minutes ago, he had been acting like the toughest guy on the block. Now, he wouldn't even make eye contact. And that moment made something really clear to me. His attitude earlier had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with him feeling comfortable bullying someone he thought was alone. But the second that illusion disappeared, so did his courage. Watching him suddenly shrink into complete silence was weirdly satisfying. Not because I wanted revenge, but because his entire personality flipped the moment he realized he might actually have to stand by the nonsense he had been shouting earlier. The tough guy act disappeared instantly. And honestly, that awkward silence said more than any argument ever could. Sometimes karma doesn't come in the form of some big dramatic moment. Sometimes karma is simply watching someone realize they embarrassed themselves. The funny thing is, if that guy had just stepped out of his car and said something simple like, "Hey, I'm just making a quick delivery next door. Mind if I park here for a couple minutes?" I probably would have said yes without even thinking about it. No problem. But respect costs nothing. And the moment you start treating strangers like they're beneath you, you might just end up looking like the biggest fool in the situation. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories just like this. And I'm curious, what would you have done in this situation? Would you have ignored him, confronted him, or done something even better? Let me know in the comments. And remember, sometimes the most satisfying revenge is simply watching someone realize they messed with the wrong person.